Take two. Hi, tonight we have our friend Emma. She's originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, with a chunk of her career in Atlanta. Emma came to Bonanno Concepts with an interesting background. She has consulted with restaurants in several states and has traveled the world to study her passion of spirits, wine, and beer. She spearheaded a craft boutique and specialty wine sales division and was a mixologist for a multi-billion-dollar distributor in the Southeast. She is currently Colorado co-president of Women Who Whiskey. She takes a culinary approach to cocktails and believes the cohesive vision of food and drinks create an experience that can transform the way we enjoy dining. She moved to Denver in mid-2019 and has been spreading her love in the form of booze since arriving here. She loves teaching and coaching, but is also a firm believer in always being a student and a good listener. So, Emma Alexander, it's on to you. Thank you.
Sorry, it took me a second. Peaches, my cat, who you may have saw, she wanted to say hello, and then she was all over my keyboard, and I had to tell her to move because she can't type, and nobody wants to talk to her right now. She might talk, and she'll come out and she'll talk. She thinks she's a human, so just throwing that out there. So yeah, my name's Emma Alexander. I am 40-something. I've been in the industry for 24 years. I currently am the beverage director for Bonanno Concepts, which is Denver Milk Market, which is a 16 multi-unit restaurant. Mizuna, which is a white tablecloth. Luca, Lou's Food Bar, Salt and Grinder, Green Russell, which is the oldest speakeasy in Denver, Russell Smokehouse, Osteria Marco, French 75, Wednesday's Pie, and also our catering company. So a lot of beverage things and stuff to touch, with a lot of different moving parts on how to conquer that. I also own a wine spirits brokerage company specializing in small batch, small production, and esoteric spirits. It's always been my passion to represent the little guy. You know, I want to help those kids go to college as opposed to helping the bigger brands get bigger. It's just a passion of mine, just to help people who may not know what to do with what they have, but they have a passion, they have a vision, but I have the experience and the connections to help them develop into whatever they want to do. So today I'm going to talk about mental health and my experience and how things have kind of affected me and going through COVID, and a little bit about my story. I'll keep it brief. If for some reason, because I get excited, it's a thing about me. I'm a true ambivert. When I'm passionate about something, I'm all over the place, like, hey, everybody. But when I don't really want to be there, I just don't want to be there. So then I'm a little bit more hidden, if you will. I like my alone time, you know. I'm a guitar player, so I've played in 3 metal bands, 2 punk bands, a hip hop cover band. Then I did like an adult contemporary band, but that was for money, because I'm not too big on playing Tell the Wet Sprocket unless you're paying me a couple $100, to be honest. Not really my thing, but I digress. So I guess I'll start off with talking about my biggest hurdle so far with mental health. It's been staying oh, thanks. It's been staying a leader through it all. I've always been, even though I'm the youngest, there's always this misconception like the youngest is spoiled, or the youngest is, I don't know. I'm the beacon, if you will. Growing up, I was the one who just watched everybody else make mistakes and just kind of didn't make many mistakes because I saw how it affected others. So I just stood in the back and didn't really say anything. And I wasn't being judgmental. It was just that I just saw the effects and I'm like, I don't want that. So I'm just not going to do that. And that's pretty much how I've functioned most of my life. I came from Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati is not the most racially friendly city, if you will. If you are not a minority, you may not notice it, but if you are, you notice it. I started off in the over the Rhine area, if you will. That's where my career started. And I worked in a nightclub and then moved up to working into being, I owned a percentage of a bar with some partners. By the time I was in 20s, then I opened up a Hofbrau, or as we call it Hofbrau, but everybody else calls it Hofbräu House because that's how you pronounce it. And I opened up 3 others in the United States, and I realized my passion for opening businesses and consulting and making everything right. I simultaneously work in finance, so I really just got my hands in all of those things. I just like learning. So I soaked it up and became a bar owner at 24, which was pretty rad. But a lot of things were happening for me. A lot of things were happening too much and too fast. I was making a lot of money too much and too fast. I was kicked out when I was still in high school, so I kind of couch surfed and played in my band. I also did like rap battles and things like that. Yeah, I'm witty. I did those, and I had a steady gig on Short Vine at Top Cats, and I was there every Tuesday, and won a lot of money just beating people, which boosted my self-esteem and my confidence because I was always the odd child, the black girl who wore a Black Flag t-shirt and Chuck Taylors to school every day, who played in a metal band. So it just kind of stood out. But I was always fascinated with creating things and building things. I wanted to take what music was and put that into whatever I did. So I ended up combining the two and stayed in the industry, but more in a leadership role. It's just been hard really to stay that person because I don't feel like I've ever had any mentors. I just take away the positives and the good that I in other people. And I'm like, yo, you're doing great. So I'm going to take that from you and I'm going to build myself up because I don't know how to do that, but you're doing great at it. So I just gravitate towards those people. But there were other that I gravitated towards because other people were really, really fun. And the next thing you know, it's like I'm hanging out with my boss and I'm like, oh God, you're so fun. And the next thing you know, doing cocktail in the bathroom. I digress. It was free. It was there. Things were there. There were money, always things that I grew up not having. So everything that I got, I wanted to have, and I felt like I deserved it and I should have it. And it didn't make sense for me to not have it. And within that industry also, a lot of the leaders that were like owners and managing partners were my group, if you will. We're all kind of felt like, okay, if I'm going to be in this industry, I have to be the best. I can't mess up because I want other women and, other people in general who look someone like me to want to thrive and to want to be the best and to want to be leaders. Because you might go to a restaurant and there's a server who might look you and you're like, hey, what do you want to do? And they want to do other things besides being a server. They don't think that they can because they don't see anyone that looks like them. So that was the thing. But I've always been in, well, yeah, like 18 years I've been in a leadership role. So for me, just to try to hold it together has been hard, and to hold my team together has been very, very hard. When COVID happened, it was very difficult for me. I moved here 2 years ago. I was supposed to get married. I planned to come here to open a business. I found a property that I wanted to get in town. I was supposed to close on it March 20th. Police shut us down March 16th. I withdrew from the table. I lost half my earnest money, and that was a wrap. I did demographic research because I really wanted to figure out, where do I want to be? Where do I want to retire? Where do I want to go? And I felt like being near the mountains and being near nature was where I was more at peace. And I really liked it here. So on the place, and why not combine all my background and just revamp the entire way that we're doing bed and breakfasts, is because people were so comfortable with Airbnbs. Like, you're just going to stay in a stranger's house? Cool. Just going to this and do something in between that, but in a hotel, but it's not a hotel. And just put my culinary spin on it, but also put my hospitality love into it. And it didn't really happen. My never made a husband. I won't even give him the he left while I was in a wedding and moved out. So I came home and his stuff was gone and half of our things, and decided to leave in the middle of the night. That put me in a very dark place, because, I think, like, at some point in your life, you're like, oh, well, all my friends are doing these things and they're all getting married and they're all having children, and I'm not. And here I am, in my 40s and still single. And I'm just like, what's going on? I thought that this life partner, but wasn't. So it just kind of threw me back into a dark place, with no one, no friends, no family, and no partner. And then my whole idea of the bed and breakfast was thrown out the window, because it just didn't happen for me, because COVID. So that was a really, really tough time for me. And it was just hard. And since I didn't do that, I ended up getting a job. My brokerage wasn't doing well because COVID. People want to buy, like, they're buying the big brands, but they're not buying the small brands because they don't know anything about them. My people who worked for me could do, like, the samples and the Argonauts and the restaurants and the stores. So nobody, it was a thing, and the distributors were not on me to go and do what I was going to do when I couldn't taste with new people, and a lot of businesses were closed. So I had to work on whole lot. So it's like breakfast. So felt like a big fucking loser. A very positive person. Your connection keeps in and out, and you react if we pause. Yeah.
The lighting. Yes. Look at the lighting.
Oh, I know. Look at that. I am not a vampire. Maybe I am. Okay. Yeah. So things just kind of sucked, and I just had to start all over, being lonely and just having to deal with myself. I mean, if it wasn't for my cat, I don't know what I'd do. She's pretty rad. But that was things. So just having to start over. And then I ended up getting a job, which I don't really like working for people, to be honest. But I was very selective about who I picked, because I feel like when you've been doing this for a while, you just know that your time is so valuable. And if I'm going to spend time, I need to spend time with quality people, and also have to have the same vision in mind. So if they don't, I don't work for larger companies. If I'm going to work for somebody else, though, I decided to work for a family. And that's how I ended up with the job that I had. Everybody's like, how'd you score that job? Because that's a bomb ass job. I'm like, I just applied for it. I wish I had a better answer. I mean, I don't know. I just applied for it. But anyway, but just seeing, like, as soon as I started that job, it was right before COVID started. And the people that I just met, they all got let go. And there was no one. And we had to figure out, how are we going to stay open? How are we going to remain relevant? So I wasn't a beverage director anymore. I was more of like the bar manager / bartender because we didn't have anyone else. And everything was being run by managers, and half of our restaurants closed. We didn't know if they would open back up. And it just was humbling, if you will. Because it's like, man, and they're like, yo, we can't pay you what we told you we could pay you. And it's not against them personally. It's just what was going on. Like, so, you go from running a craft and import division for a multi-billion-dollar company, and then you move across town, you lose your partner, you're single again, you are in a shitty position, and you're back working for somebody, and then a pandemic occurs. And by the way, you're kind of just a bartender now, but you don't have any customers. So you have to be a floor manager too. And you have to be a cashier, and you have to be a line cook. And in Milk Market, there's 16 fucking venues. So you gotta make pizza, gotta fry the chicken, gotta do the fucking prep, gotta learn how to do pastry, because I didn't do that. I've never done that. But I can make some badass croissants now. Either way, like, it was just being shoved into having to do everything, because in order, like, we were working open to close, and there were really no job titles. There were no positions. And for me, it was just really, really stressful. There was a time that I really, really struggled with pills. And I have fibromyalgia. So sometimes I'm in a lot of pain. My wellness regimen, I've pretty much switched it to a whole holistic approach, because I don't like taking medications. I don't like pills in the house. I just don't. I can do without them, but I just don't like to have them around. It's like temptation. If you've ever had any issues with any sort of addiction and it's right there in front of your face all the time, it's really hard to just walk by it and just say, you're cute, but I'm not gonna take you. And that was what it was. It was just, throwing everything out. And when Kyle Douchecanoe, that's his name, when he left, I really felt alone and on an island, and I took a bunch of things, and that wasn't really who I am. And then another thing happened. As soon as this pandemic occurred, I took a bunch of things, and it was not good. And I felt like, man, I'm going to work every day and I'm so strong for these other people, but there's nobody strong for me. So I don't have any. I felt like I didn't have a support system, and I didn't have anyone in general. So all I really had to keep me active or keep me occupied was things that would stimulate me. And that's not cool. Then I got on dating apps, and that was a terrible thing. But I was afraid to meet people during the pandemic, so I didn't end up exploring that option and being a bad person. So that sort of temptation just kind of threw out the window. But other things just crept in, and it just kind of made me break. And I just realized I have to be strong for myself. And sometimes we just don't realize that we are the strongest person in our lives. So no matter what, you can't depend on anyone else to complete you or to fix you or to guide you in the right direction or to tell you no when you need to figure out that you need to tell yourself no. Because I don't like the word no. It's negative. It's a negative word. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And that would make me stop doing anything to stimulate me, and I would put everything into work. So that's what I've been doing. I've been putting everything into work, and that's just not feasible, really. I had an epiphany, if you will. I realized that the week before opening day, I worked over 90 hours. The following week, I had outpatient surgery, and then I still worked 81 plus hours. It's not good, and I started doing meditation and just trying to figure out other things to stimulate me that doesn't involve money, that doesn't involve anything but peace of mind and happiness and just finding that inner core within myself. So, I've just pretty much been doing that. Waking up and, I'll meditate, and every week I go out to somewhere. I just get in my car and I drive. I've been taking Sundays and Mondays off. Even like you said about Mondays, it's terrible. It's like everybody fucking emails you on Monday because they're the Monday through Friday 9 to 5ers or whatever. And it's like, I get anxiety because everybody wants something and I have the answer, but I have to learn to let them wait, which is hard because I think like in this industry, we're all instant gratification people. And that's kind of why we do this. So when somebody emails me and I know the answer is 15, so I'll just email them back 15, but they know that, but now I have to set healthy and realistic boundaries. Boundaries are hard. You have to figure out, hey, no, I don't want that. Or, hey, I'm done. Or, hey, can this wait till tomorrow? Or like, come on, I hired you for a reason. Use your brain, figure this shit out. Process of elimination. If the fucking Shamrock order didn't come, why are you asking me? Look, who's our Shamrock rep? Look at the invoice. Did you order it? Did you not? Don't you know that you could take the corporate card and go to Shamrock and get it if you're not going to die? Are you going to die? Okay, then 86 it or fix it. But you don't need me to tell you to do that. So now it's been more of me training other people to think more independently. And I think in all my years of like coaching and supporting people and being that positive person, like you can do it, to tell them like you can do it without me, that's wild. It's so wild. But I'll train my replacement in a heartbeat. You do everything and it makes me look good, so I don't have to do any of it. And it's fine. I'll train you how to do it the right way and I'll help you with your thought process. But, you have to want to learn. And right now, the climate's terrible because nobody wants to work, like at all. In the past 2 weeks, I interviewed, over 50 people, which typically on my level, I wouldn't be interviewing hourly employees. But here we are because everybody has to do everything and it's not a union. And people don't show up for interviews. They, they say, yeah, I've been doing this for years. And then we do stages to see like, oh yeah, impress me. And it's like, what is that? Like, do you know what sous vide means? Do you know? Or can you make me a Negroni? And then they go and grab scotch or they grab, and I'm like, what are you, that's not, what are you doing? Or like, yeah, I know beer. And I'm like, well, what's the 2 categories of beer? Because all beer is in 2 categories. And they're like, I didn't think you would ask me that. I'm like, but you said you've been in beer for, I don't know, 20 years. So it's either a lager or an ale and it's categories of such. Like, I don't know. And I'm just not going to hire just bodies because then I just got to replace them in like 2 weeks or whatever. Those are the people who don't show up or somebody else comes with a higher offer and then they leave. So I just want to work with people who I can just invest in and train. It's just a little bit hard. I just think that for me, balance is just come from knowing what I don't want and knowing what makes me not feel good and trying my best to create an environment for others so that they don't be in that, they're not in that position, if you will. So like, I don't know, if the environment's hostile, it's like, I could be, the mom that you're afraid to piss off, or I could be the sister that you don't want to disappoint. I think like changing culture now, it's really, really difficult, and investing in a lot of the millennials and the next generation, whatever that is. What is that? What's that called? Do you know? Babies. The adolescents. But yeah, just investing in them. So it's like, okay, just because people have this negative connotation associated with them. So we have to figure out, well, where are the good ones? Because this industry can't die. I wanted some bullshit garbage food. I wanted Taco Bell the other day. And Taco Bell didn't even open until 5 o'clock and it was noon. I really wanted a crunch wrap. And they brought the potato tacos back. So I was ready. I really like them shits. Anyway, so I went there and Taco Bell didn't open until 5. It says, we are not opening until 5 due to staffing. So that killed my vibe, man. I was on a cloud too. I just got done meditating. And then I just wanted some bullshit food just to like make my day. And then nobody was at Taco Bell because nobody's able to work. So it's a different climate now. And we got to figure out like, how do I keep these places open? Because I have to work with so many restaurants on a daily basis. Like, how do I keep this stuff open so that, and how do I make people want to come to work every day? Like that's the first question I ask in interviews is like, what can I do to make you want to come to work every day? And, you know, now you got all these people who were like in the industry and then they work for Amazon for like past year. Oh, I'm a little rusty. Okay. Some things are like riding a bike and some things are just like you're full of shit. And I'm checking your references. It's kind of a thing. I don't know. With me and just overall, I just got tired of being tired, and I got tired on depending on other things to stimulate me and make me feel whole and make me feel human and wanted. And I can't look for that in other people. I had to find that in myself, and it took me kind of getting pushed and alone, and I don't know, just kind of sometimes feel like I'm on an island still to this day, but I feel like my team is like the family I created for myself. And I've met a lot of people through, you know, the whiskey organization that I'm a co-president for, and just saying hello and coming to things like this. Like you make new friends and you meet new people and you learn more about them and you realize, hey, it's not that bad. You hear other people's story and their stories are way worse than yours. Not to compare, but then just to put it in a different perspective. Because I spent a lot of time listening and not really talking about it. And I'm not passive aggressive. I'm just selective about who I share things with because I don't like being judged. So I felt like sometimes that kid back in Ohio where it was just like, oh, well, you got this opportunity because you were Black and there was nobody else here. So we want our companies to look good. So you fill a void and you check a box. But one day I woke up and I realized, no, I'm fucking badass at what I do. And it's not about checking a box. It's not about balancing things out. It's not about inclusion. Hire me because I'm great. Hire me because I know what I'm doing. Don't do me any fucking favors. Because it's been hard to figure out, like, were you the sympathy hire? Or were you the person who just kind of like walked the talk a certain way? So they just felt like you're fine and you're acceptable to have because you were different. I don't know. It's pretty fucked up. It's a bad way to look at it. But I don't really know any other way to look at it. I'd have to say, when I left Ohio, because I left Ohio 15, almost 16 years ago, and I moved to Atlanta. And the only reason why I moved to Atlanta was because that was like the place where I saw more people that looked like me. And I just wanted to not feel like an outcast anymore. So I did that. It was cool, but I outgrew it. Just not for me. I think that my lifestyle is way different. I've gone very, very minimal. I have a small apartment. I got rid of a lot of things because they're just things. I figured that I was hiding behind things. Like, they're inanimate objects. They can't feel, they can't love you back, they can't do whatever. And, you know, for a monetary amount, you can buy things that you think make you look better or feel better, but they're just things. And so every week for about the past 6 months, I get rid of 10 items, and 10's a good number for me. And it might just be like, oh, well, here's a friendship bracelet from somebody who's not my friend. Why do I have that? Or like, here's one earring that I know, I don't know where the other earring is. So I'll just get rid of the fucking earring for what? I'm not wearing that. Or it's like that t-shirt that, you know, from a bar that you worked at in 1997 doesn't even fucking exist anymore. And you wanted to have it, but it's like, I'm not 90 pounds anymore, man. I'm never gonna wear that shirt. And I like the fact that I'm more womanly now instead of being built like a 9-year-old boy. I digress. I just don't ever think I'm ever gonna be 90 pounds again, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to be that. And throughout all of this, I ended up gaining a lot of weight, but I like it actually. I think it looks good. I've become comfortable with it. I gained a lot, then I lost about 53 pounds. So since I've lived here for 2 years, I've lost 53 pounds, and I've adapted a different type of lifestyle that's a lot healthier. But I just had a bunch of things, and I don't really want these things anymore. And I don't need those things that have emotional attachments. There's some emotion behind them, and I don't think that I should have them anymore. I don't want to wear them. I don't want to embrace them. I don't want to make them feel like they are a part of who I am, because they're not. Just stuff I did, stuff I bought. Reminded me of a moment that really wasn't that memorable and doesn't need to go with me, because it takes me to a place mentally I don't need to be. So, yep. I don't know. Maybe that's my time. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I'm sorry.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah, no need to
Thanks.
apologize, as we're here to listen to your story, and I'm glad you shared it with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.